Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Partnership Guys podcast. I'm Rob Stoker here with Todd and Steven, as always. Thanks so much for tuning in to YouTube, watching us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We help people get to the win, whether it's build it, fix it, end it, or exit it. We are really helping partners dig deep into their partnership and helping so many have a much better partnership or separate in their partnership. Just talking to so many partners who have never talked through so many of the concepts that Todd and Steven wrote about in their book. This is episode 27 of season 2, building psychological safety between partners. And, you know, the core of this is that the strongest partnerships create an environment where both people are comfortable saying what they think and admitting mistakes and challenging each other and challenging ideas and being vulnerable without fear of repercussions from your partner. So as a question, can you tell your partner the truth? Something bad happens, are you comfortable telling your partner exactly what happened, why it happened, and is your partner open to hearing it, having an open conversation about it? Basically, can you disagree without worrying about the reaction? So Todd and Steven, thanks so much as always for coming on. You guys, decades long partnership. I'm sure it's so many dealing with disagreements. You are not the same person, very different personalities, but somehow you've both made it work, and not just made it work, but, made it work and then some. And I'm always so, in admiration when I come into your office and I see your team, clearly the core values are strong here, but it definitely starts with the two of you. So definitely interested to hear from the two of you how really you got to a point where you can be open with each other about everything and challenges and mistakes and different things you're going through.
I think we started off the partnership in a very vulnerable spot, right? We were both leaving, partnerships. We were both extremely nervous about getting into a new partnership. We had that conversation early and about what the apprehensions were and why. So, I've talked about it previously when Steve and I were just first sitting down to talk about this months prior. I had to tell him the truth about something that was very bad that was going on in my life that I knew was going to impact a partner if I was going to, be partnering up, right? I was still dealing with the end of another partnership and everything involved in that, which took about 10 to 15 years to clear up. And it was just some vulnerable experience. So try to really set the tone super early. It's never too early to start it, but we really try to set the tone super early, just so we can make sure that we can be open, because we've came from partnerships that you couldn't tell your partner the truth. It could either been, out of fear of, I'm not going to say disappointment, but out of retribution to a certain extent. And we found that, that wasn't the way we wanted to live our lives moving forward. So we worked very hard, and you have to be vulnerable to be like, hey man, I screwed up. This is going to impact you. And without the foundation of trust and respect, it's going to be more challenging to do that. So we have a good basis of trust and respect. It is one of our core values, which, you don't feel like you should have to make that a core value, but you'd be surprised with how many people, partnerships, businesses, lives where it's not a core value to them. Like that, it's not, I'm not going to say it's not a consideration, but I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. I worry about it. I think about it because I know I need to have the space to be open and honest and to tell the truth and to admit when I screwed up, admit when I said, I need help or I don't know. You always want to have the answers. Guys like us always want to have the answers, but you don't have all the answers, and you don't do everything perfect. So if you don't have a good, mechanism to be able to talk or background to be able to tell each other the truth, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be the problem. Things get hidden.
When we first started talking about partnering up, right, we were both in situations where our egos had gotten stomped on. You were coming out of a bad partnership and trying to figure that out. I was arguing with my family about, my family partnership and my family's business because that was going down the tubes at the time. And I can remember sitting, at least the way I remember, just sitting in a lobby of a hotel, talking about what we would be doing together and how that would work. I don't think we had any language like we do now about vulnerability and trust and all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, we sat there for a couple hours and got really vulnerable with each other and really honest about what was going on in our lives and the fact that we didn't want to do that again. We wanted to have something, that was successful. And the language back then was successful in business, but it really laid the groundwork for us being able to continue to build on that little bit of vulnerability to begin with and build on the fact that we could do that because our egos were already hurt from the other things going on in our lives. And so that allowed us to kind of be honest and vulnerable and start to really build that trust even before we partnered up. And we just don't see that all the time with the people that we've been working with. They just don't think about, being truthful and being honest. It's all about how do I put my best foot forward? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? The point is to try to support each other and be honest with each other because we all have weaknesses and flaws and fears and definitely have blind spots. And so if you're not honest and truthful with your partner, you're never going to be able to succeed in that partnership. It's going to be a disaster right from the beginning.
Yeah, vulnerability really isn't a weakness in a partnership. It truly is how trust gets built. Because when we had these conversations, Steve, in the very beginning, we talked about the concerns about the other person as well, because you don't want to go into it with unanswered questions. So, we talk all the time about having the uncomfortable conversations. And after a while, they're not uncomfortable anymore. They're just the conversation, but it's coming from a safe space where you can be truthful and expect truthful responses.
Because the words I made a mistake or something that I was working on went, a wrong way, those words in theory are difficult. They're difficult to say. It's much easier to just let it go and, whatever the repercussions are, just in somehow putting it that it wasn't my fault. It was something happened that was outside when it comes. But when you have great partnerships, what you learn quickly is you want to be the person that if something goes wrong, you want it to come from you. You want it to come from yourself. If I mess up, if I made a mistake, I don't want you finding out from anybody else but me. I want to be the person that says, hey, I messed up. This is how I messed up. Help me figure this out from here. And then it takes recipients that are, I'm with you. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Let's figure this out together. And in all the great partnerships I've had, that's been there. And then in the one bad one, it's been the opposite, that you made a mistake. It's how do I not say anything about it? How do I create something that makes it look like it was somebody else's fault, or just flat out blame other people for something that went wrong? And what started to happen in that one bad partnership was one of us would do that, and the trust went right down the tubes. And guess what? The other one, something would happen to, and the instant thought is the lies come out and I'm not dealing with it. And if the other partner said something about a mistake you made, it's getting defensive, it's getting angry, it's coming back with mistakes the other one made. And we're seeing that in so many partnerships we're talking to. They just have some work to do to get back to the foundation that most partnerships had when they started, which was trust, respect, we're going to be open with each other. And getting back there is huge if you're not there.
We come across partnerships where people actually don't know their partner in a real way. They don't know the real you. They don't know. And, listen, we're humans, right? We have strengths, flaws, we're blind spots, fears, whatever. And you can't expect perfection from somebody when there is no such thing. At that point, you're just setting that up. So we need to get to really know each other in an operational partnership, because, if somebody has a weakness, it allows the team to compensate, as needed, right? I mean, if there's something I'm not strong on, if Steven doesn't know that, we're probably not going to do a great job. He might not, I might not be aware enough to ask, hey man, I need help. Like I'm not good at this. I need help. Like he sees my weaknesses. He probably sees more weaknesses in me than I see, right? Because we all have blind spots.
We all do.
And the context matters. Home affects work affects home. It's so important for partners to really know each other. And again, you don't have to be best buds. You really don't. That's a great positive win. Like, that's what I have with you guys. Like, after work, we'll go hang out, or meet with other friends and hang out. It's awesome. But, you guys also, I'm comfortable to tell you the truth about when, the shit is hitting the fan at home or whatever it might be, so how to deal with that.
We talked last week about chaos and crisis in a partnership, and how good partnerships get stronger in those situations and bad partnerships fall apart in those situations. And a lot of that work comes in the form of truth and honesty in your partnership, and what's going on with you, and putting your ego aside and stop trying to win, and trying to really get to know and understand your partner. I mean, we're working with somebody that has been partners for years, 15, 20 years. And we're working with one of the partners, and they want to go in one direction, and they think the other partner doesn't want to go in that direction. But they haven't been able to sit down and actually have that conversation. And the response we get when we suggest that is, I know what they're going to say. You don't know what they're going to say. You might think you know what they're going to say, but you don't really know.
And you might actually frame your conversation so you get the response back that they're going to say, so you can say it's them, sure. And it's not me. And it's
right. You bias it. And that works with good news and with bad news, right? I mean, it how you react to something absolutely impacts how that other person is going to act. And so, creating a space that, allows partners to disagree, that allows partners to have difficult conversations, but actually provides a situation for that partnership to get stronger because of that. I don't know how to do this, and the other person is saying, okay, I can help you, and is honest about that. And that's really where you want to get with a partnership, and it starts with being honest and being truthful, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. You can't let your ego get in the way of building that partnership, because if you don't do that, you're not going to have a business anymore. And we all have been in those situations, and we all lost those businesses eventually.
Yeah, because your partner doesn't need you to be perfect; they need you to be honest.
Yeah,
that's because you're not going to support a person that,
it's unreasonable to be perfect.
Somebody's pretending to be.
I mean, in your case, Todd, yes, but otherwise,
of course,
you said it, not me.
Yeah, but as a final note to this is, we all know also that your team all sees it. The people that we're talking to are having issues with each other. Right behind it is they're having issues with their team, and their team is having issues with each other. And that's one of the things. I walk in here and see you guys, and I see your team, and the energy is through the roof, and it starts with the two of you and your partnership and your trust and respect and your vulnerability. I hear it in people here, and they're open to saying I made a mistake, and they're open to saying, hey, help me out here. And you're open to receiving that. Thank you for telling me that, and let's get through it together.
That's a great point, Rob, because you don't want your employees hiding stuff, right? You don't want your people to hide stuff. You want them to be honest and open when something needs to be resolved. Because if they hide that and don't share with you, and you don't have the opportunity to find out or see it, right, that's only going to cause a bigger problem in the long run. And so modeling that behavior in your partnership allows everybody else to have a safe space to be able to bring those things to you.
Absolutely.
I've never yelled at an employee, or a team member for telling me the truth, even when they screwed up, right? They need to feel that safety as well. Otherwise they're going to hide it, or you're not going to know about it. And I tell people, I can handle bad news. Like, I'm not going to handle lies. So it's really, that's why Steven and I communicate the way we do. And that's how we like everybody else around us to communicate. Stuff happens, we make mistakes, and sometimes they cost a lot. Sometimes they don't, but you got to give people the space and the grace ultimately to be truthful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this has been great, guys. Thank you so much. For all partnerships out there, I would just ask the question to yourself: can you tell your partner the truth? Can you disagree without worrying about the reaction? And even some of the partners were saying, yeah, for the most part, I can. And when the answer is for the most part, I can, the answer is you can't, because you're going to find out when it gets hard or when things go wrong, it's that small percentage of times that it doesn't work out that is going to come to the forefront. And that's the issue. The alignment and trust and respect has to be 100%. And it is with us. It is with you guys. I've had so many great partnerships that have had it. And like I said, that one bad partnership didn't, and it was doomed from the start. So thank you again, guys. It's been a great talk. It's been the Partnership Guys podcast. Again, I'm Rob Stoker here with Todd and Steven. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast. You can come to our website, www.thepartnershipguys.com. Reach out through there or any of our social media channels. We are helping people get to the win, whether it's build it, fix it, exit it, end it. This has been episode 27. Building psychological safety between partners. And again, we're looking forward to a few more episodes of season 2. And we have something that we think you're all really going to like coming in season 3 shortly. So thank you again for listening. Thank you guys for being on and having this great conversation.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.